Welcome back to World History. I'm Mr. McCall. Today what we're going to do is we're going to introduce the vocabulary for ancient Sumer. So what we have first is civilization. This is without a doubt the most important vocabulary term for this section. Civilization is an organized society with art, science, and government. All right, now if I were going to create a sentence for this, I would say the ancient Sumerians were part of a civilization. I'm going to make this even better. I'm going to say based on the artifacts available, the ancient Sumerians were part of a civilization. I just bumped that from a middle school sentence to a high school college sentence. Very good. All right, so what we have here is our picture. Now, this is a picture of civilization for a couple different reasons. It shows social structure. It shows people working together in an organized society. It shows some technology. They have a trench going through the middle. They have city walls. So a lot going on there that represents civilization. Next one is social structure. Now, when we talk social structure, we're talking about how a society is organized. Okay, so a society is a group of people. So how your group of people is organized. I'm going to write for our sentence, the king was at the top of the social structure. All right, so this shows that we understand that the king was the most important one. And let's make that spelled correctly. All right, so we have my picture here of a king and a peasant or somebody that's bowing before them. So we got a nice, bright, shiny crown. All right, so let's move on to our next word. Next one is technology. Now, technology, we have a very basic definition. It's any tool that helps get a job done. All right, so anything, whether it's a pencil or a hammer, is going to be technology. Now, today we think of technology as electronics. That's just what we have today. We're in the computer age. In the past, technology was just any tool that helped get the job done. So for a sentence, let's say, the peasant used technology to turn the soil. All right, so we have technology there. And that's actually what's happening in this picture. We look over here, we see the plow. Now, the plow was a very important invention in ancient Sumer. And over here we see it being used. They actually have two oxes pulling their plow. And the reason they would do this, in a previous video we said, was it was like mixing the Kool-Aid. If you don't mix your Kool-Aid, then all the sweet tasting Kool-Aid settles at the bottom. You want to stir it so it mixes in. Same thing with a plow. That stirs the soil. It turns the soil over so it mixes the nutrients. So not all the good nutrients are at the bottom. They're also available on the top. Let's keep this going. Next up is a merchant. Merchant is a person that sells goods. All right, if I were going to do a sentence for this, I would say I bought a shirt from a merchant on 125th Street. All right, so a merchant is just somebody that's selling something. So for our picture here, I did a credit card machine because that's somebody that's purchased something. Now, obviously, Sumerians did not have credit cards. They would have been bartering. They would have been trading or exchanging instead of using a credit card. An artisan. I'm going to put a craft person. Person that makes crafts. But just looking at the first three letters, you see art. Somebody that makes art. All right. The artisan painted the mural. All right. So now what we're going to do is draw a picture. So here we have my picture. I have an artisan here that's painting a picture of a king that's purple with a crown and hierarchical scaling. We got some smaller individuals. Those are not kings because they're smaller. All right, let's keep moving along. Next up is a scribe. A scribe is a person that writes. That's it. Now, scribes were very important. It was very important to write down information for the ancient Sumerians. They were the first to really create writing. The scribe recorded the tribute paid to the king. All right, so let's say the scribe recorded the tribute. People were paying the king, and this scribe wrote down how much they paid, which would have been important. So, and there we go. We have my picture of a scribe. We have a person sitting at what appears to be a floating desk, I guess, but they have a stylus in their hand, and they don't have a smiley face because training for scribes, being a scribe, is a very difficult job. It's not easy. So they're hard at work writing down for the king. All right, next up we have ziggurat. Ziggurat was a temple tower in ancient Sumer. I'm going to put important for religion and government. It was the place where they believed the gods lived. It was also very important for government, which we will discuss. So the ziggurat, let's try that again. Ziggurat at is a very large temple complex studied by anthropologists. Better yet, let's do archaeology. Let's do anthropologists. All right. Of course, is one of the city-states that we've looked at on maps. This is actually a representation of that ziggurat at they generally have the stairs on the outside, but I think it's pretty clear to see similarities between this ziggurat and the pyramids that would be developed later in ancient Egypt. All right, so now let's discuss culture. Culture is just the beliefs and behaviors of a group of people or a society. So as far as culture in a sense, there are many cultures throughout the world. Even the United States has many different cultures. So what we have here for our picture is we have people holding hands all around the world representing many different cultures. different beliefs and behaviors, whether it's religion, ideas about government, clothing, all kinds of differences. All right, so what we have here is cuneiform. Cuneiform was a wedge-shaped writing system that was developed in ancient Sumer. If I were going to write this in a sentence, I would say the archaeologist attempted to read the cuneiform tablet. Now, cuneiform was written on a piece of clay tablet with a sharp reed stylus. The reason it's called wedge-shaped is because if you look over at some of these cuneiform markings, they oftentimes have this triangle wedge shape, and that's because they were pushing into the clay with their reed stylus, so it left a wedge, or a triangle shape. And finally, let's talk pictographs. Pictographs are pictures that represent ideas. The students learned to use pictographs rather than words. And for a picture for this one. Alright, so for my picture for pictograph, I have a couple of just really simple pictures that represent words. So I'm just using this symbol, this picture, to represent the idea of a cow, and this picture to represent the idea of the sun. It's just a picture that represents an idea. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you an example. So this is a picture dictionary with several different examples of pictographs. This is what ancient Sumerians used before they developed cuneiform. They found this to be very difficult once they got more and more ideas and had more and more writing. So they decided to move away from this into cuneiform, which led to our modern system of writing. I hope, as always, this has been edifying. I'm Mr. McCall, and this is World History. Take care.